nisimwite jina, but of course he is in the mouth of very many musicians. Yani wasanii wanamuongea sana.
Kabisa.
Hakuna mtu ambaye amjui
Ezekiel
Mutua. Karibu sana. Salama?
Naomba ushike mic vizuri.
Nashukuru kuwa hapa. Asanteni sana kwa kunialika TV47
kabisa.
Na Heko, hongera sana kwa kazi nzuri mnayofanya.
Asante, tunashukuru sana. Right now on air show inaitwa Bomba la Sanaa. Sema Bomba la Sanaa.
Bomba la Sanaa.
Kabisa. One of the hottest entertainment TV shows.
I hear so.
That's why uko hapa siku ya leo. Ushasikia
nashukuru.
Kabisa. Ushasikia ngumi ni jamo?
Ngumi ni jamo?
Okay. Ukifanya hivi unasema
nzima ngumi ni mbwengse.
Unakubali mbwengse. Daktari anakubali.
Umekataa jamo.
Kuna jamo
na kuna
alafu
mbwengse. Okay.
Yes, kabisa.
I'm learning.
All right.
Unakubali sana guys.
Naendelea kujua tu. Pole pole.
All right, let's talk about you're the former KFCB boss, and of course this is an industry that is majorly dominated by young people.
Absolutely.
How is it, or how has it been for you working with the young generation so far?
Well, I think I'm privileged. Anyone who was the privilege to work with the youth is blessed. There are challenges, there are differences in opinion. The young people are the backbone of our economy. 75% of our population is youth, is people below the age of 35. They hold the future of our country. And we are blessed to have youths who are innovative, who are educated, who are interconnected, they are tech savvy, and they know. They are the ones who drive the economy of our country. So I've been privileged to work with them in different areas, but particularly where I've come from, Kenya Film Classification Board, where I was a regulator, and I was dealing with all manner of audiovisual, including music. Now, 3 weeks ago, I was appointed the CEO of Music Corporate Society of Kenya, which now deals with the promotion. So I'm coming from the point of regulation now to the point of promotion, and I think it is it's just God's design that it worked that way, because the work of regulations like traffic police, stopping people on the highway, you want to check the car, and you never appreciate the work of a regulator, the traffic police, until you are in trouble. There's somebody carjacked or you're in the boot of the car, and you will be praying that a police person stops that car. A lot of people just insult the police. They think they're wasting their time. These guys who hurt them were their idol and so on. And we don't really appreciate our traffic police people. We think they're wasting our time, particularly if you are on the right side, particularly if your car is okay. You don't see why they bother you. But the regulation is so critical. That's what I was doing on the side of audiovisual as CEO of KFCB for 6 years. Now, God designed it that I start out that way because I set the tone as the moral cop. To say that content is powerful. Content shapes our values. Content, whether music, films, art, in generality, sana kwa ujumla, it shapes our values, particularly children, and therefore we become what we consume. So if we consume negativity and depressing stories, Ben Okiri is a Nigerian poet. He said, if you want to poison a nation, poison their stories.
If you want to poison a nation,
poison their stories, poison their content,
that's a
poison
new one
their
to me.
music.
That's a new one to me.
Yeah,
all right.
And so if you just do stories about negativity, rape, murder, corruption, people insulting each other, and those are the dominant stories on our TV. What happens is that's actually what the values you are shaping for the future of our children. All right. And that's why some of the issues that we're doing at KFCB was to rate films based on thematic areas. And the classifiable elements were obscenity, vulgarity, violence, and hate speech, those kind of things, to ensure that we don't promote them in our stories, because stories are powerful. Now, coming from there, after having set the tone, mobilize parents, religious leaders, educational institutions to support this cause, and the youth themselves. And by the way, let me tell you, despite the fact that we end up running with quite a number of them, great majority of people supported me. Great number of people. I've just come from a huge conference for the youth in the Kasarani PCA Church. And it's amazing. You know, guys are just crying to meet me. You know, that tells you, by the way, and that you would think when you watch the TV that every youth is against regulation, they hate these kind of things, and they would want dirty content.
I would not say they hate the regulation, but to what extent are these regulations affecting them? I think
absolutely, and they agree. I was just giving them an example because when I started, and it brings back to the point I was saying. For example, watching violent films listening to violent, dirty content. It shapes the values of our children that way. You saw the boy in Kiambu who took a machetes and almost cleared his whole family. And they say they were influenced by a film called Killing Eve. They watched that film during COVID, and because they are close, that time we under lockdown. That's how powerful films are. That's how powerful music is.
True.
I was listening to another story I watched in one of the TV stations of a guy who went to a crusade in somewhere I think in Western Kenya. And he attended the crusade. He wanted to commit suicide. He was so suicidal, and he was depressed. He had a lot of issues, and he attended that crusade hoping to get to find some hope. And he attended 3 days, and he didn't get any hope, even from the preaching, until they invited Solomon Mkubwa to the podium, and he sang Mungu wetu mwenye nguvu. That's how powerful music is. And that song stopped this guy from committing suicide.
Hiyo song inaanga Mungu wetu ni mwenye nguvu,
wetu mwenye nguvu
ni baba wa milele.
That song changed him. He never killed himself. That's how powerful music is. And that's why I encourage now this industry I am, that we create music that inspires hope. Music that builds values. Music that will change somebody like that one who's going to commit suicide to know there is hope. Tomorrow will be a better day.
True.
Music that inspires, not music that only talks about negativity and depresses people. In any case, from where I sit right now, I'm now in the marketing side. I'm the promoter. I'm their guy now.
You're the promoter.
Even the Gegeton guys. Now those are my people. Now we're going to talk with the Mlabes of this world and so on. Because now this is where I am, not as a regulator. Now as a promoter as a developer. Now I'm their man. It's like a guy who was scoring for Arsenal. You know, and or against Arsenal, and he was giving them headache. You know that time when Arsenal has never won a trophy for a long time, and then you bring Messi. Now people don't say, let me finish that analogy. It's very powerful. People in Arsenal, if they got Messi or Ronaldo or Mbambe or whoever, they don't say, oh, this guy is scoring against us. This guy really has given us headache for the last 5 years. No, they say now, this guy used to score against us. Now he's our striker. Now people will see us. They celebrate. So this is the kind of embracing that I expect from the industry. That the same passion that I was using to regulate is the same passion I'm going to use now to talk to our young people, to identify natural talent in music, to talk about music that can sell. Because even from a commercial perspective, music that we can consume as a family, in our public vehicles, in our private cars, in school, in churches, in our homes, that's the music. Those are the products that sell. That's how marketing strategies are done. Even when you look at the big companies like Farcom, even the banks, people manufacture cooking oil. They do stuff that sells among family. You widen the market share or the market, the demand, because family is that will consume more. And you look at most products that sell and people make money. They are based on that concept. So this is a conversation we are going to have. We are going to fight piracy. We are going to ensure that people, we collect and distribute royalties for our musicians. And I'll be their defender. I want every musician, young and old, to know that they have a defender. Their CEO is a fighter. And I'm going to fight to have proper regulation, proper laws to ensure that everybody who consumes Kenyan music, they pay for it.
Daktari, I have two questions ambazo ningependa nikuulize. Haya maswali yanaoana. Swali la kwanza ningependa kusikia from you. Sasa upo kwenye MCSK, that is inahusiana na masuala ya muziki. Kwanza, ukiwa nyumbani unapenda kusikiza aina gani ya music?
Mimi wanasikiza sana gospel. Upenda muziki kama hiyo ya Solomon Mkubwa kawaida.
Lakini mimi
lakini pia mimi I'm very open-minded. If you do a good song like Nyashiski, is my guy, you know, na ongopa Mungu pekee, you know.
Na ongopa Mungu pekee.
South Soul, you know.
Sura yako ni nzuri mama.
You know, that's my favorite.
Now,
so I'm open-minded, but I like songs with a message, songs with substance. You know, we make it look like sexualized content is what sells, and it's not true. So you can enjoy music. There's place for romance, there's place for nice songs and love songs and so on. They're not bad. Actually, they sell because people like love. Love is a powerful theme, but we can sing about other issues in life.
That was the first question. La pili, upo kwenye sector ambayo sahi you are a promoter of music, si ndio? Pole sana. Mwaka mmoja uliopita kama sijakosea kumekuwa na issues za wasanii nchini Kenya ikiwemo Calligraph Jones, akina Gabu, wasanii kadhaa ambao wamekuwa wakisema kwamba wanafanya kazi nzuri kwenye music, wanatoa ngoma kali, alafu mwisho wa siku wanapata shilingi 3,500, 2,250. Wewe kama sahi umeingia ofisini, you have like 3 weeks of ofisini. katika siku zako 100 za kwanza ofisini, tutarajia nini from where?
Siku zangu za kwanza is laying the foundation. All right. I want to get the foundation because the reason why such artists whose music should be making them raking millions are not getting money is because people are not paying for the music. Restaurants are not paying. Salons are not paying. Matatus are not paying. The IT companies are not paying because the regulator decided instead of building the industry to destroy it, to fight it. So Kekobo at some point they even attempted to deregister CMOs and then to go to court and get court orders. So that attitude of the regulator always killing, fighting and not promoting is what has brought it to where we are. And the musicians need to know the enemy is not the MCSK or CMOs. It's not CAMP, it's not PRISC. The enemy is the regulator. Because if you take away the licenses and parade a story out there, bundle a story that the CMOs are corrupt. The work of the government is not to kill, it's not to cripple CMOs. The work of the government is to help them. By the way, with all the things that the people were saying about me when I was in KFCB, I was actually even doing like Riverwood Awards so that I encourage compliance with regulation, not by just using a big stick, but also doing awards and appreciating and acknowledging those who are doing a better job, those who are creating clean content. Now, what Kekobo did instead of helping these guys to streamline, helping these guys to ensure that they do the right thing, they decided to use a big stick, take away their licenses, deregister them. They even attempted to deregister. And CMOs are private companies. Government cannot deregister MCSK. Okay? But they even attempted that and as CMOs and to go to court. Now the problem is they intimidated them so much. There's a guy called Sigay, when every CMO hears about them, they ran away from town. And they got them so scared that CMOs were dying, and they were not saying why they are dying. They are dying because of the regulator. If, as Ezekiel Mutua right now, I'm there, and I'm the one with the problem, you don't kill MCSK because of me. You get that guy out. You don't kill the CMO. That's not how we operate. If there's a problem with the TV47, one presenter, do we say shut the TV station? No. You deal with that person. CMOs are very critical because the practice worldwide is that they're the ones who collect and distribute. Government cannot collect. The big companies cannot collect. Even broadcasters. Like now you consume music here, you do a lot of work here, that is good, but you are not authorized by law to collect or pay royalties. So when somebody intimidates them and harasses them out of town and makes them look so corrupt and bad, deal with the corrupted elements, but don't kill CMOs, because that way musicians will never get anything. So Calligraph Jones, South Soul, great musicians in Kenya, they are not earning anything, yet Diamond Platinum is raking millions because the regulator in Tanzania, there are issues with them. By the way, they are more strict than Kenya, but they will allow him to function. They will respect the bodies that collect on behalf of Diamond Platinum. He doesn't collect for himself. Government does not collect for him. He had issues with even the former president Magufuli. But they never killed the industry. They helped, the government helped them to regulate. So here now, I am here now to sort that mess. We got to start talking and ensure that instead of them killing the CMOs, we have a conversation. Where there's a problem, we resolve it. So that has been my starting point. The moment we get the structures right, and you saw the president signed the corporate amendment bill, the moment that bill is implemented, I can tell you, because it has raised the money accruing of the royalties for the artist from 16% to 52%. From tech companies, from telecommunication service providers alone, we can make Kenyan musicians billionaires because we are using more technology. Kenya has more ICT, connectivity, and we are better off than even Tanzania or most countries in Africa.
All right, Dr. Let me just to pick up on Tony's point. You are attributing not artists getting enough royalties to corruption.
Right now, I'm the CEO. We are not collecting. Yes, we are not collecting. You are not paying. Even if I ask your records here, as TV47, you'll find that you are lagging behind because Kekobo created an impression that we are not supposed to collect. Yet we have court orders. So I have come because I'm a journalist. I'll tell that story. That's why I'm starting from here and calling it what it is. And I can tell you there will be war until we sort of, because we cannot have a narrative that is wrong sword and the right guy looks like the wrong guy and the wrong guy looks like the government must do what the government has to do, which is to support CMOs. all the companies, Safaricom, media houses, all the users of music, including politicians who are using music here, kusema at Sipangwingwi, and they are using for politics, they will pay for it.
All right.
I will fight for musicians. So the wrong person, the blame is not with the CMOs.
Kidogo tumtazamaji, as you can see kwenye screen yako right now, hapa ni tutakuwa later tunavuka kuelekea katika that is matangazo ya mitihani ya KCSE, but before that ningependa kusikia from you daktari before tuvuke the other side, because leo Magoha anatoa matokeo.
Hajaanza, tuendelee.
Yes, ndio. Nataka nisikie from you. Wasanii ambao mwisho wa siku ulipokuwa KFCB, kuna wasanii ambao labda hawakupenda wewe kuwa pale, si ndio? Ikiwemo Recomondi. True or false?
Tony, even on that, your appointment, of course, a lot of artists are work which Kuliana.
It's because of ignorance. I am not responsible for their ignorance.
The
job was advertised. The job was in the papers for almost a month. It is said the qualifications. I applied. I'm overqualified for it. Why didn't they apply? You see, there's a problem with this country because we deal with pettiness and side shows, and we don't deal with the real. So I don't answer those kind of questions. The job was in the papers. Let them question whether I'm qualified for it, because they were asking at what music has Ezekiel produced. The CEO and the staff are not musicians. No, there's no requirement. The advert was in the paper. Google, check on our website, it's still there. So the challenge was because we always deal with the wrong things. You know, and the CEO and the staff of MCSK, they are not musicians. They don't have to. You can be a musician and get a job with MCSK as a staff, but it's not a requirement. It was not in the requirement. So I applied and I got the job. What is the issue?
All right. But Dr. I'd want to know, do you have an issue with the kind of content that Eric Omondi puts out? Because Eric Omondi is always...
He's not a musician, so I can't talk about him. Or does he have a song?
He's an artist in his general form. He's a comedian.
You know, I am an elder and a leader. The more you keep dragging those non-issues on your show, the more you downgrade your show. It's a non-issue. Eric Omondi is not a musician. You keep pushing that story. It's a non-issue. I have no issue with him. I've never banned him, his music or his art. I've never had an issue with him. I was regulating. I was dealing with him as a regulator because he's a comedian and that was my sector. What do I have to do with him right now? And if he was a musician, I wouldn't be banning because right now my work is not to ban. I would now be promoting, and if there's a problem, I would be encouraging conversation so that he knows what we ought to do. But right now, I'm not a regulator. I am a promoter. So actually, if he was a musician, right now, we would be great friends. But he's not a musician. Why do you keep dragging him into conversations that are...
Daktari, away from...
is he a musician? I thought he was a comedian.
Away from Eric Omondi.
So are you ignorant as journalist or what?
Away kidogo from Eric Omondi. Tuko na mtazamaji ambaye anaitwa Kevin anawatch, anasema kwamba ask Daktari Mutua how much is license for playing music in a business like kinyozi ama salon? Or who mnaangalieni before mseme kwamba now in a salon will charge this is kama MCSK, in a salon will charge this, kwa kinyozi this, kwa matatu this, and kwa TV this. Mnaangalia nini aswa?
There are tariffs that are approved by the government, and that's the work of the government, by the way. That's where now Kekobo comes in. They set in the tariffs and we apply them. But for the last 1 or 2 years, we have had a challenge. So I don't want to announce them because it's one of the issues I'm challenging. Because I think tariffs should be reviewed based on market demand and supply, and also based on issues like COVID and so on. If a restaurant was supposed, or a salon was supposed to pay 5,000, I'm just giving an example, because the tariffs that are now documented, which are outdated, they're on our website and they can check. And I wish I ended the figures, but I know there's a contestation about the amount. And so it's not quite important. What they need to know is that they ought to have a license. If they go to the to MCSK website, if they call the numbers there, they'll be told, because there's the rate that we are using right now. As the CEO, I'm trying to streamline the industry to ensure that those tariffs reflect the reality, that we don't demand too much from a salon that just opened yesterday. We don't demand too much from a TV station that is employing you, Bansi, and employing my brother, that we are reasonable. Those tariffs should be guided by conversations between the government and the CMOs. Through the regulator, the government should be able to engage us, and we all negotiate the tariffs based on the market realities of the market, so that we do not cripple the users of music. So I think rather than mention or answer directly to say it is 2,000 or 5,000, I would like them to check on our website. However, they need to know that I am new, I'm 3 weeks. So what I'm doing right now, first of all, the contestation I found is about the amounts.
Yeah.
They need to be reasonable, and they need to be stakeholder engagement and buy-in of the industry, both the users and the creators of content to agree. That's why, for example, the president now, 2 weeks ago, signed the Copyright Amendment Bill. It has sorted out the issue of skiza tunes. All right. So these other ones about kinyozis and so on, we are in the process of trying to get. But there's what they were paying. They should continue to pay that. If they are new, I wish I can get his number so that I now we can engage and see, because some of them are behind because of COVID.
All right.
They are lying by. They're lagging behind. They have not been able to pay. Our approach would be just follow the law. If you're using music, and it's not for the CMO, and that's why I want them not to look at MCSK, to look at the young person like Mbazi who has created a song, and they need to eat from that song. That is their talent. It is IP, it's intellectual property. It's property like another. If I steal your phone, you have charges that you can prefer against me. But somebody will use your music and they don't want to pay. I want the conversation to be around respecting intellectual property and copyright.
Yeah. All right. As a promoter of now the music, I'd want to know, there has been a conversation on pushing 75% Kenyan content. And of course, this includes music. What is your take on this? Do you agree?
In fact, for the longest, remember I was the Director of Information and Public Communications in the Ministry of ICT, and I was also Secretary of Information in that ministry.
All right.
And that conversation of 75% came during my time, and Professor Mbitang Ndemo, and congratulations to him, I've seen, he's now been appointed the Ambassador of Kenya to the Kingdom of Belgium. We are the ones who did that. When I was Director of Information, it was the PS for ICT. And we were pushing for progressive, incremental implementation of that local content consumption so that we can use more of our music, more of our films.
I'd want to interject you at that point because you said you started pushing that agenda when
yes,
you're still
it was 60, it went to 75, so now we should be at 80.
Why is it taking so long for it to actually be...
Same thing, same government. That's what Kikobo should be concerned with, rather than crippling CMOs. 75%. They have no muscle to tell broadcasters, play local content. Don't play Niger movies. Why? And if you must play Niger movies in Kenya, let us have a reciprocal arrangement for Kenyan movies to be shown in Nigeria. If you play Tanzanian music here, nakupa sukari, si kwangwaru. How come our music is not also playing in Tanzania? Those are the conversations. By the way, it's about taking advantage of the African market protocol and the East African community, the protocols are there for business, for trade and business, to ensure that our musicians and our artists are not disadvantaged. Those are the real conversations, not the side shows that you're asking me about, Eric Omone and so on. They are non-issues. But the real issue should be Eric being creative the way he is and talented. His talent should be breaking a lot of money.
Okay, Daktari, we apologize.
Our musicians at the same time.
We apologize for that. Asking that question.
Because, thank you.
We had a conversation for over 20 minutes, but only that one question. Pole sana, pole sana.
Eric is a friend of mine.
All right.
And after this, tunaenda kukunywa chai.
Kabisa.
Lakini nyinyi mmempakia tu hapa, and then we keep misleading Kenyans.
Hapa kwa show tunasemanga kama ni tamu unafanya aje na kama ni chungu unatema. Umesikia?
Nimeona nyinyi watu wa maana.
Kabisa. So kama ni tamu sisi wote tunalamba na kama ni chungu tunatema. So stories za Rikomoni kidogo tunatema tulambe zingine. Now before songe mbali, because I know kuna mahali unakimbia, I want to hear from you. Cartelism imeua industry nyingi. Cartelism kwa ofisi fulani makateli wamejaa. For you upate share yako, you must do this. Mnyonge hana haki wa ofisi zingine.
Imejata kwa media industry.
Sindio.
You know, to play your song.
Yes.
So there are some sacred cows whose music is played.
All right.
There are others who never get airplay. So I like the question you're asking, but we must be honest.
Sawa.
They are everywhere.
So wewe mwenyewe cartelism katika bodi yako utaimaliza kivipi?
Kwangu hakuna cartels. I can tell you I am an upright man.
All right.
Not because I say so, but because that's the way I was brought up. I was the head boy of Ikumeni Primary School. where I went to primary
which
in
county?
1983. Mwala constituency in Machakos County. I was the head boy of Mwala Secondary School and the CU chairman. I was the CU chairman and school captain of Tala High School when I did my A-levels. You know, people think that we just start looking moralistic. No. I have tried to be consistent with my values.
All right.
For 30, 40 years.
All right.
So it's not something I'm pretending. There cannot be cartels in my board. Yes, I know there are issues in the industry.
All right.
I know there are misunderstandings. I know there are infightings. And not just with the board, but also even with the musicians. And not just with us. It's even with, like I've said, with the regulator. There are issues that need to be sorted out. We can't fight. We are Kenyans. And the bigger picture should be the musician. We should all be happy when our musicians are making money. Now, when they are not getting money, and you make the MCSK or the CMOs look like they're the ones with the problem, when in essence, they are not the ones with the problem. I'm here now.
All right.
Now part of the system, of course, we expect to see a lot of changes.
Yes.
But due to the interest of time...
Thank you for the faith you have in members.
Due to the interest of time, I'd want to know, you recently reintroduced the Malaika Festival.
Yes.
I'd want to know, will we be seeing more of these awards that will be appreciating our artists, of course?
My core mandate is to collect and distribute royalties to musicians. And like I said, I would like to make Kenyan musicians billionaires. The day I will see Calligraph Jones, South Soul, all these artists that have entertained us,
all right,
making billions, I will have succeeded.
All right.
To do that, I have to fight piracy. There must be the right laws in place. I have to be candid, even the regulator. By the way, I have a lot of respect for government institutions. By the way, I was a regulator just the other day. So I have a lot of respect for regulation. But we have to address the real issues and not do side shows. And besides that, you have to have other value addition. Besides collecting and distributing royalties, I need to see our musicians safe, respected, doing their business in an environment that allows them to produce quality music that can sell internationally. I want to see them supported with financial literacy so that a young person who is only talented and they may not have gone to school well, they have sung a song in mother tongue and it's a hit and they are making money, but they don't know how to manage that money. They don't have the financial discipline. There must be those value addition. I would like to start a circle for musicians to invest. If the workers in the energy sector have steamer circle and so on, and the banking sector and so even government, why do musicians not have their own circle where you can borrow money, you can invest, and you can be able to support one another? I would like to see insurance cover, like I said, medical cover for our musicians. We don't have to do a rampage for our musicians when they fall sick. We must put in place structures that will support them in good and bad times. And more importantly, I would like to take music back to the artists. It should not be about Kekobo or the CMOs or the government. The artist who is talented by God with the ability to sing and entertain and make our hearts feel so nice, that person must benefit from the sweat of their brow. That's my work. But as I do so, I'm going to bring all these other benefits, ensure that we have MCSK Foundation. I'm going to raise money even from grants from donors. And that way, in a few years, watch this space. And I say this because I have a record of success. I don't know how to fail.
Kabisa.
I took KFCB from nothing. Their annual budget was 88 million. I left it at 600 million from Treasury. That way means I could go to Parliament and make sense with my conversation and my argument for budget to be increased. This is the best environment I've ever worked, where you are promoting, you're not regulating, where you are dealing with the artists themselves, the creators of music. There are other two CMOs, but I can tell you, the owner of copyright, the one who represents the musician, is Music Corporate Society of Kenya. And I'm going to champion the rights of musicians. I'll fight for them. I will ensure we have proper legislations in place. I will ensure that 52% from Skiza Tunes is paid to their accounts. And I will fight for them and I will make them millionaires. And they have a champion in Dr. Ezekiel Mutua.
Mtazamaji, tunapiga story siku ya leo kwa mara ya kwanza na afisa mkuu mtendaji wa MCSK Daktari Ezekiel Mutua MBS. Inamaanisha nini
MBS? Moran of the Order of the Burning Spear.
Chukua.
I was given that by the late President Kibaki. So when you were observing a moment of silence, I was like,
Kabisa.
Kenya had a CEO in President Mwai Kibaki. I was a nobody. I didn't even know I was being given that award. But he looked at the work I did as Director of Information and he gave me MBS. I'm so proud.
Asante sana.
As we mourn him, I'm remembering the honor he gave me for my outstanding contribution to the country.
Kabisa.
Yes.
Basi before tumalize interview, ningependa kidogo tumpatie kidogo kando na MCSK, kando na KFCB, angalo tuweze kuangalia kidogo maisha yako kama mzee wewe mwenyewe.
So, mzee ni wewe bana. Mbona unanichomea?
Unajua mzee ni jina la heshima. Jina la heshima sana, jina la heshima. Kuna mzee ile ya uzee ya
tu ni mbazi unataka kumuonyesha ati unajua watu wakitaka kuchomea ati mzee. I feel youthful bana.
Hapana.
Basi.
Ndio kwa heshima, mzee kwa heshima. Ukiwa kwa nyumba ni mavazi ambayo unavaa brand gani sana? Brand gani nguo ambayo unapenda sana?
Mimi uva local bana.
Local too.
Mimi nguo zangu zimetengenezwa. Like now there's a guy called Kaveke, John Kaveke.
Yeah.
He's in the fashion industry. Yeah. And you know I've been promoting local fashion industry.
Yeah.
I subscribe to the philosophy of our president.
Yeah.
We are local, you know, made in Kenya for Kenyans.
Kabisa. Yeah. Buy Kenya, build Kenya.
Buy Kenya, build Kenya. So I normally, most of my stuff.
Yeah.
Hata hii ni ya huku tu.
Ya huku tu.
Ni ya huku tu.
Swali la pili. Ni application gani kwa simu yako ambayo haina password?
Jesus.
In English, which app in your phone doesn't have password?
Mine are open, by the way.
Zote?
Yes, mzangu zote. Tunaona sasa hata ndugu yangu nimempatia.
Ziko mbali.
Wewe huwezi peana yako.
Ameweka password mpaka.
Lakini wanasema maisha ni yako.
Maisha ni yangu,
shughulika na yako. Sipangwingwi.
Lakini NCIC itakujia.
Kwa nini? Walisema Sipangwingwi, I can tell them here. They dare touch that. In fact, I hope the sales will not drop because of that. Sipangwingwi is not in violation of the ethics of it. In fact, that's not the word they used. Atupangwingwi.
All right.
The song is Sipangwingwi.
Yeah.
NCIC did not ban the song Sipangwingwi. It's a very nice song.
All right.
So, and I was like, let them there, you know.
Yes.
You know, now I'm the defender of musicians.
Kabisa.
So, Sipangwingwi is a nice song and we're going to sing it.
Kabisa.
On that same notion, I think I'd want to know, before you leave the house, what is the one thing you can't leave the house without?
Of course, my phones, because I'm in communication. So I ensure that I carry my phone with me. I always pray before I leave the house. But if you are talking about the physical stuff that I carry my phones with me. If I forget, the car will turn back. I'll go back and pick. I think that's valuable because I'm in communication. I'm a communicator. And for the longest, I've been in positions of authority where you need to make decisions. And I don't know how to live without the phone.
Kabisa. It's a good thing. Swali ambalo Banse nikuuliza nilipenda sana, all about introducing awards za Kenya. Ulijibu vizuri sana, napenda sana.
Na by the way nilikuwa nasema hizo award uliona za Malaika. That was the beginning of starting an award for musicians in Kenya. Not just to honor the past, but also the present.
All right.
So sooner than later, like now what my brother Kev Mole used to do with the Groove Awards, want to partner with people like those and revive those kind of awards that will also recognize our past heroes. You know, like Fadhil Williams. There are so many musicians who made us happy. You know, I was very happy to meet Freshly Mamburi in Voi. And we want to honor them while they are alive. We should not just celebrate them when they die. So what I'm going to start is a music award that will not just give plaques and certificates, but real money, and will honor from the village. We are going to structure MCSK to have even constituency coordinators from the constituency, and working with the MP, ensure that we raise it all the way to the county level and to national level. And we are going to start like what we are doing with the Kenyan National Drama and Film Festival. We are going to start some arrangement that will identify and nurture talents from the ECD all the way to university, and keep a data bank for our musicians. What genre of music they produce, how is it doing, how much money, and then to promote transparency. And this is where now Kekobo should be very happy that I'm here. We are going to have transparency in the collection and distribution by employing technology, that a musician in Malindi can just check on a dashboard and see how their music is doing, how much is coming out of it, and they are earning. If we collect more money, the CMO will keep 30% for administration. You will not have to touch the 70%. Right now, they are not paying much because we are not collecting. You can't pay what you are not collected. But the moment we sort out the license issue and the relationship with the regulator, and we collect, there is so much money for musicians. The matatu industries are not paying. Restaurants are not been paying. The broadcasters, most of them are not paying. The moment we now start honoring music and paying, musicians will laugh all the way to the the bank, and we'll have awards, we'll have the Music Foundation, and so on and so forth.
I love the sound of that, laughing all the way to the bank.
Yes.
Were you a fan of Chaguo Latinis?
I supported it, actually.
Do we expect to see that in your tenure?
That actually should be reintroduced in my time. And not only, it will be different. It will be lucrative.
All right.
That's what I can promise.
Can't
Are you
wait.
a product of it?
Can't wait to see it.
Oh, it will be lucrative, I can tell you. Like I've said, I don't believe in just giving certificates. I believe if Buzzy, you have done a good job, you have created something phenomenal that is entertaining us and making us happy. You should be acknowledged, appreciated, and celebrated. And given a token that can also take you forward to create more.
Daktari, asante sana kwa muda wako, nashukuru sana. Imekuwa over 30 minutes za discussion from 11:20 mpaka saa hii 12 sharp. Imekuwa
nashukuru, and it was based on issues. And thank you for accepting the correction. I did it with great humility.
Si basi ununue chai.
Oh yes, you want me to buy it openly?
Yeah, hapo kwa TV.
Ninunue kwa TV.
Promise.
Sio tuonane kando. Lakini nashukuru. Mjadala ulikuwa wa maana sana.
Kabisa, ilikuwa amazing conversation. Nashukuru sana. So before tumalize, DJ utaplay ngoma moja kidogo, tuchangamke kidogo tukitoka. Kabisa. Any song you wanna request from DJ Wash? Sipangwingwi, alright. Maisha ni yangu. Washughulika na yako. Napenda za kwangu.
Washughulika na zako.
Sipangwingwi, kidole hivi. Twende kazi, Mr. DJ Wash. Guys, this is now at 12 sharp. Before songe mbali, we wanna do this with MBS mwenyewe, CEO MCSK, Daktari Ezekiel Mutua. Kabisa.